Hey guys, it's Andrew here from Lifestyle 180 again, and bringing this week's webinar introducing the value ladder, which is laid out to help you design the perfect pricing and packaging strategy for your business. And as always, ably assisted by my partner in crime, Nikki. Nikki, welcome to the call.
Yeah, brilliant, man. Looking forward to diving into some of this content. The value ladder can really gives your business good direction on what products and services to provide your client base in a systematically structured way. So I'm looking forward to diving into this content and sharing it with you guys, and obviously using mine and Andrew's wisdom to kind of help you set up your value ladder. Very important part of building a business so looking forward to diving into the content.
Yeah, me too. And this accompanies the article in the September issue with the FBDA newsletter. If you should have all received a copy of that by now, but have a look. That's on pages 2 and 3, and it follows on from last month, where I spoke about the secret formula to growing a successful business, which is the step one is knowing who your target client is. Once you're clear on that, we move into this building out that value ladder. So without further ado, let's move forward on that. First question, I guess, is what is a value ladder? In a nutshell, it's a list of your products and services, and as it says on the slide, mapped out in an ascending order of value and price. And I'm sure Nikki will concur here, but we've made mistakes in the past. I certainly did in my fitness business, where I started from step one and built upon that. And but as we've discovered, as we learn and grow, that you need to know the big picture and ultimately know the final destination. That ultimate big package that you're looking to create, and then scale backwards. So build down from that top package. Wouldn't you agree, Nikki?
Yeah, just like yourself, man. I made like a ridiculous amount of mistakes in every business that I've worked on. And if you think about how you start your business, especially fitness business, you love what you do, you have a few clients and you grow. Normally start on a one-to-one level, and then different services come up. But what tends to happen, there's no structure, there's no organization. It becomes a little bit of a mess, and it becomes a little bit difficult to then sell your current clients into other programs, which could be massively helpful for them. But because there's no structure or organization within your own company, or not having a value ladder, it's almost impossible to do. What Andrew said was correct. If you think about the top first and work on your most high-end product first, even though you might not have any clients on that, and then work backwards, the way you think about everything just slightly changes, and it becomes much more organized. It's much easier to get people to go into different programs when you have a bit more organized way of doing things. So we call it a value ladder. It could also be called a product matrix, if you've heard that terminology before. But either way, you definitely need it in your business. Even when we started this business, we ran into the same problems, right, Andrew? Right? We started with coaching, and we were like, where do we go with where the best option is for clients? How do we get new people in? How do we serve our existing clients at a higher level? And the value ladder allowed us to do this.
Oh, for sure. And as Nikki said, guys, on this example here, we've put, and we'll come to it, the elite coaching package. We'll come to that towards the end of the slides. But the issue I've had with clients that have gone through this process is that they see that as their one-to-one PT as being the high end. We want you to think bigger. We want you to think of that all-encompassing bespoke package that seems scary when you even think about what that might contain and how much you might potentially charge for that. But that's the scale that we're looking at here. And what we've done to help you, we want you to, rather than just sit back and listen and watch this webinar today, And for those of you that are watching the recording, we want you to actually grab a copy of the worksheet that Nikki shared within the Facebook group. So if you've not got a copy of that in front of you, pause here, go and grab a copy of that, and then follow along so you can build out your own value ladder as we proceed through this process. Okay, so what we've got here is a typical graph. We've got on the axis going up, we've got the value, and along the bottom axis, we've got price. Now, when I mention value, I don't necessarily mean more. What I mean is potentially it can be, how can you save time for people as well? So the key here is we're going up in steps. Or as we say, coming down in the steps. But starting at the bottom, you have your freebie offers, an assessment, an intro, feeder program, and it works up as you'll see as we go along on the slides.
I think with when you're running your free stuff or your lead bait, you have to remember on what the goal is at that point. So in terms of at this stage, a lot of it is down to your marketing, and you're trying to find new people to come into your business. You want to be careful not to try to sell too fast to this level, right? You just want to get them to experience what it's going to be like to work with you as a person or you as a business, because as soon as they develop that know, like, and trust, the relationship's different, and the way you can serve that person is a lot different. We're saying when we're talking about marketing it's hard to jump in with your client into bed on the first date kind of thing, right? And it's really important that you take your time to do the right steps in your marketing and sales approach. That's gonna, I guess what I'm trying to say is think long term, right? Don't think short term, think long term. So the initial bait has to be just to get people to experience your services.
For sure. And look, on this example that we go through today, we've included 4 tiers or 4 steps. I'm not saying that you have to have 4. We're just showing you this in this example. You might find that you only need 3. You might find that you need 5 or more. But the key is offering multiple value tiers as you will see, at various price points. So that gives you the opportunity to provide a potential solution to that prospect at a price point that they can afford. So hence the various stages that we have in play.
Just as an example of some of the things I used to get people in the door at the bottom end was a free assessment, as we've got written down on the value ladder here. Free assessment was a really good way of discovering what health issues people had. Did they have high blood pressure? Did they have potential diabetes, structural issues? And it gave me all the tools necessary to sell the service. Now, I could have charged for the assessment, and a lot of people in my peer group who'd studied under me were charging a lot of money, like thousands of pounds for the assessment. But they weren't, in my eyes, they weren't thinking long term. You know, I was giving away that assessment for free, and then it gave me all the information I needed to relay back to the client that, look, you're going to have these health issues, you're going to have these injuries if you don't do X, and for X to happen, this is the service that you should go into.
Okay, so just moving on from that to finally explain about the value ladder. As it says on the slide, it's a way to structure your business to appeal to your target audience at different phases of their growth. Now, your growth will potentially match that, but you know, as they progress through from, let's say, a beginning person, first time they've come into a fitness studio, and being particularly unhealthy, when they hit their first set of goals, then they're looking at what the next stage will be. And this is why having a value ladder in place, and you can show them the journey that they can take with you, or the journey that they're going to be taking through their progress, and that you can match them along each step of the way, then it's an important tool to have in play. Plus, it gives you that clarity as the business owner about what you're looking to do.
I think that's huge. Having clarity yourself as a business owner. Andrew, I know me and you have a lot of these conversations when it comes to clients pricing. And the simpler the pricing model, the simpler your services, the easier it is to kind of sell your services, because you get used to, you kind of know what you're doing. When you have too many options, it's difficult to guide your clients and your customers into what's right for them, because you're confused yourself. Definitely having that structure is an important thing.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so I've got here example of the tier one, where we're looking at, as Nikki mentioned, like an assessment. I used to give a free assessment, and in my group training, free sessions, because I knew that once somebody had experienced what we had to offer, that there was a good chance of them joining us on a paid program. And certainly looking at our group training, we had an 80% success rate. With our PT, it was actually slightly higher at 85%. And again, I was more open to giving someone a try before you buy approach, because I knew that once the experience was there, it gave me in that session the opportunity to start building rapport with them. So, I'm a big fan of giving value first, because I'm looking at the bigger picture.
With the exception of the assessment, other things that worked for me was like you did, Andrew, with an intro session, a 2-week free trial. I've mentioned this before on other webinar workshops, but I found that a 1-week trial wasn't long enough, because people just experienced delayed onset of muscle soreness. And because a lot of these people were beginners, that was what they thought training was going to be like, right? So when I did it for the 2nd week, they kind of got just beyond that stage, and they realized they're not always going to be dying after a workout. We did try a 30-day free trial as well, but that was a little bit too long. 2 weeks worked perfect for my business. I was running like a hybrid model, semi-private and group, so it was easy for me to get access to one coach, where a coach would work with them once a week or twice a week, and then they would get access to the groups. So it didn't really come at that much of a cost. I just had to cover the cost of paying the trainer, which all in all was good value for money, because of the conversion rate a 2-week free trial gives you. And as Andrew was saying, it's the relationship that you build. And so are you going to be able to do that in one session or 1 week, or do you need 2 weeks, right? Again, don't think about the 2 weeks. This is just on the front end. You got to think about this client could possibly be a client of your business for the next 3, 5, 10 years. Okay. And if they're going to spend that much money with you over that period of time, what's it worth at the front end to get that client in the door?
Oh, for sure. So we're giving you some parameters here for you to start filling in tier one of your value ladder. Price, we look at, as we said, free, and up to, and this isn't set in stone, this is just what we would recommend, up to around about £100, $100 on that side of things. Now, the key here is the goals, what we're looking to achieve at tier one. And that essentially is to qualify and capture what I would say hot leads. You want to add those people into your database, so you've got an ongoing email follow-up sequence where you can further indoctrinate them and get into your tribe, into your community. And that email sequence obviously gives you a chance to let them know what you're about, to continue giving value, building rapport, and it gives you a chance to then, for those that haven't committed, to get them on board at some stage, because you're not going to hit everybody straight out the gate. Not everybody's going to come in and commit immediately. I've had, and I was talking to somebody this morning about the delay of people coming in. They have to be at the right stage to commit. And for my PT, there was a lady, and it was 18 months down the line before she was in a position to jump on board as a client. I'd met her, done a consultation with her, and her mum at the time. But I could tell that she, for the right reasons, she was being forced into taking this direction to help her lose weight. She was morbidly obese at the time. She wasn't ready herself. She broke down in tears when I said that she wasn't ready, and those were tears of relief, thankfully, that somebody was listening to her. But I gave her some tips and strategies to go away with, added her to my newsletter list, and that gave me the opportunity to continue talking to her through my emails and my newsletters to the stage of that she'd had some success and she was ready to come on board. So it's important to realize that the goal here is, to qualify, capture, and then start that engagement process. And as we've said with examples here, there's the assessment, maybe as a PDF, a checklist, a mobility guide, or maybe you've got some little quick jumpstart package for, say, £97, which might be 2 or 3 sessions, a nutrition guide, or whatever you feel makes up that package. But as I said, as a guide, look at between zero cost and up to, say, £100 or so.
So I think with the value ladder at the bottom, again, it's just, as Andrew was saying, it's exposure. It's like, how can you get your list or new leads exposed to your product or service? Because, as a coach, as a trainer, when people are actually working with you or your business, nothing's going to quite sell like that. No amount of Facebook marketing or copywriting is going to be able to sell as much as the experience, your services. Not everyone is going to convert, as Andrew was saying, but that doesn't mean that they won't convert into a paying client down the line. So it's really important not to make them feel high pressured, like they got to buy now kind of thing, because then they'll never come back. If they have into your system that, okay, if someone says no, what's the next step? How do you then continue to communicate, educate, and motivate them without them actually being in your business? And email marketing is a good way to do that. Obviously, Facebook groups are a good way to do that, because one day they might be ready and they're only going to come to you because they know you're a nice business to work with, right? Bottom line, if it's a hard sell, hard pressure, and they're not coming back.
So here's some examples of just some image examples of having that group introduction session. The middle slide is an example of a PDF download, a 7-day workout plan they can do at home or in the gym, which those sorts of things have worked really well for me. And people have questioned, why would I give somebody a home workout? I want them to come into my studio. I want them to come into my facility. And I think, well, yes, that's our ultimate aim. But at this moment, we're looking to qualify leads and we're looking to start that relationship process. We can't get them in straight away. Yes, some people will, but a lot of people we need to, coax along, just gently giving them something of value first that they can try, and then it leaves them wanting more, and that's when you can invite them into whatever program you've got to offer in the next step up of the process. Okay, tier 2, as we move up, is in this example, we're giving two examples. Could be group training, which more so like large group training. For me, it was boot camps. And in those groups, I would have anywhere between, generally it was between 15 and 20 per session, and that was manageable for one trainer. There was times where in the early days I would have 30 in a group or more, and what I needed to do then was I needed more coaches on board to help support. But usually in this tier, we're talking about a larger group, but also looking at running workshops. It might be a mobility workshop or a sports specific or movement based specific workshop, be it a half day albeit a full day, and so on. But the goal here, as it says on the slide, is now we're looking to increase profits, generate revenues from this particular tier, but also it's about building trust with those individuals, giving them value as well, and a sample price point. And again, as I say, these are just samples, is between say 147 to 297. So it's a step up in price as opposed to what we were offering before. But using this type of model at this level, it just gives you the chance to reach more people, give what I feel incredible value to the members of the group that participate. And if you've got your margins right, it means you can bring in significant levels of revenue from this.
So ask yourself the question on this stage, like within your resources, if you've got a studio or outdoor, whatever your business allows you to do, just get your worksheet out and actually write down some ideas of what product or what service could you offer at this level, and what price point would you put it at. You may already be running this service. This might be your primary service, which is absolutely fine. But if it isn't, let's say if you're a rehabilitation expert or a chiropractor, someone that just deals with one-to-one people all the time, you're missing out on a huge chunk of business that could really help your business go forward. Excuse me. Just jot some ideas down. You don't have to worry about how it's going to work or how it's all going to run. Just jot some ideas out for now, and then over time we can figure out actually how's this going to run. I'll give you an example of a chiropractor, an osteopath that we work with. Obviously, these guys work one-to-one. But they had a huge database of people that would rarely come to them unless they were injured, which meant their cash flow was up and down all the time. There's no consistency in cash flow, it's never good for a practitioner, even worse for a business. But some of the things that they had knowledge on was they could develop like home stretching programs, nutritional supplements and stuff like that. So we got them to work on, okay, let's build this out. What else can you sell them on a regular basis? And that became their kind of continuity program at the lower end, right? So there's all kinds of ideas that you could use. I guess the thing is to get yourself out of the little box, okay, and think outside the box. There's all kinds of things you can develop. So just write down, if you need to pause this video to do this, pause it for a little while and just write down all the ideas you have that you could possibly serve your market or your client base at that level. And then come back and we'll continue with the webinar once that's done.
And the key with this as well is, again, these are examples of what we're showing. You've got to be clear in your mind who your target client is, the issues that they face, and then building that product, that service around those particular those issues. So again, some images here of things that we can do on that side of things. Moving forward, we've then got tier 3 of our 4 tiers that we've got here, which we've apportioned to semi-private training. Now, at this level, the goal is to look to increase the profits and bring in that recurring revenue from the packages that you're selling folks on. An example, as I say, could be small group training. So in a semi-private setting, and I think this bears saying, and I'll have Nicky expand upon this because this is his forte, is that some people say, well, how many should I have in a semi-private group? For me, I was comfortable with 2 or 3 people, but any more than that, it diminished the value and what I felt I was giving. For others, it might be slightly more. If I was doing it today, I would stick at 2 people to 1 trainer. But as I say, let me bring Nicky in on this point because I know this is his certainly strength.
For me, this is why we haven't got one-to-one above semi-private training on the value ladder, because it's the same service, right? And a lot of the people we talk to make the mistake of like using this value ladder and trying to get the semi-private training people into private training. That kind of defeats the whole object of why you're doing semi-private training in the first place, right? So for me, that semi-private is like, it's still individual program, or as individual as you can get, but you're just able to coach a larger number of people, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I feel the same as Andrew. Like 2 people is great for me, but it can be done with more people. But if you're going to charge those rates, like literally it's like 2/3 of a private session, then people are going to expect that one-to-one service, but you're just doing it with more people. Going back to the value ladder, this is why we don't really recommend going from semi-private into private. Group training into semi-private, definitely, because you can work on more individual strength, flexibility, mobility, corrective stuff, which you're probably not going to do in a group, or you will do, but it's very generic. But then there's no really significant difference between private and semi-private when it comes to the programming, right? We've got elite coaching package here, which we'll go to in a minute, but there's way more other things you could do to upsell a semi-private client into a higher value service. Here's the question I want to ask you, right? It's like, where can you provide the most value and charge the most money? You know, I'm going to ask you that again, right? Where can you provide the most value for your client and charge the most money? What would need to happen? And that would be the final tier of the value ladder, which we're going to come to in a different slide. So I just wanted to hold that question in your mind while we move over to the next slide after Andrew's finished describing this tier.
Yeah, what really sold me, I guess, on semi-private training was I'd gone and injured, gone torn knee ligaments in playing football, and I was going to the physio a number of times a week for treatment, and you know this was done in a semi-private setting. You know, I had the time slot that I was allocated. I rocked up. He would come in, he would start treatment on me, put the ultrasound on or whatever, and then he'd go into the next room and he would be treating somebody else at the same time, get them set up, and he was going from room to room. So that was semi-private training to a degree. He was two on one, and I was thinking, if he can do that in this environment, what makes it any different from us as PTs in doing that with clients? And that was a big big wake up call for me on that side of things. I think that probably covers, on semi-private for me on that side. Any more from you, Nikki?
I would just say, as a service, going off the value ladder, as a service, I'm a huge fan of semi-private training, but it depends what you like, right? You can run a business on groups, private, semi-private. It's entirely up to you, right? Some of the problems that some people that we work with have faced is they've tried to run a service just based on trying to get more revenue, but they hated it. Just didn't enjoy it, right? So it always backfired. So everything works, but this has to be a decision based on your culture and your business, whatever you decide to do. Some businesses run all of them and they're quite happy doing them, but you don't have to, right? What I would say is don't follow everyone else, right? This is your unique business, right? This is all about you, the way you want to run it. You're going to be living in it day to day. So make it tailor it to how you want it to be. And then we can figure out the tiers of your value ladder based on what you want. It's a much more fun way to run your business. And that's how me and Andrew did it at Lifestyle 180. We looked at what we enjoyed. We tried different things at different tiers. Some of it we actually hated, so we decided to scrap it and look at something else. We made money from it, but we just didn't enjoy it. You know, so you will have this as you start to develop your business. You got to find something that you're really passionate about and you enjoy.
Absolutely, and that's an excellent point made, because I see everybody trying to shoehorn their business into a particular model, and it's the wrong way round. You know, we need to spin it around 180 degrees and look at, you know, what you want, you know, and following your pathway, not following the herd, as Nikki said. I particularly liked semi-private. I enjoyed the energy that was generated within the group. It for those particular individuals who felt a little bit not intimidated, but perhaps shy, that, you know, there'd be those maybe uncomfortable quiet periods if it was just one-on-one, where you weren't quite sure what to say when you were just new in the relationship with that particular client. But I found that there was extra support from those in that same session with those. And then when it came to renewal time, that client A didn't want to leave the program because they enjoyed the session with client B. So, there was that renewal, that continuing factor as well that came into play. But as we say, we move on to, and we've picked 4 tiers here. And our top tier is our all-encompassing elite coaching program. The price point we've set here as a marker is 647 plus, and upwards, depending on what's contained in that package. But the real goal here, as it was with the previous tier, is increase profits and generate recurring revenue, and boosting those revenues coming in. What we want to do is really paint a picture of the sky's the limit here. We've put here a bespoke training package, and as I say, this can be whatever you feel it could be, and I'll let Nikki expand upon this.
Yeah, so the question I asked you on the last slide was like, where can you provide the most value and charge them the most, right? There are people out there that want the best service, and I'll give you an example. There are coaches and trainers that will take a client away to faraway lands for a week and just have one-to-one coaching with them, or fitness coaching, lifestyle coaching, get all their nutrition done for them. They just giving them a outside experience, for lack of a better term, and you pay like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 pounds for that week, right? So it's a very high-end service, but it's of great value to that person. You think about some of the people that may take on a service like that. They're probably, I'm just stereotypical here, a CEO of a big company, highly stressed out, never no time with their family, and like, it's a company, so it's like, where am I going in my life? Be going through their mind all the time. So they need this, man. They might need a week away just to come back and be the best that they can at their job, which might be a high-powered job with a high-level company, right? These services already exist out there, okay? So they do work. It could be a little bit less than that. Like, what if you could provide all the meals to your clients' doors? What if every weekend a massage therapist went to their house and gave them one massage, and they came to your studio for all the training, or you went to their house for training, right? How could you make it as simple as possible for them to do that? What would you charge for that level of program? Again, at this stage, don't worry about how you're going to do it or if there's any buyers, right? Just, you never know if someone wants a program until you just get it out there. I remember one of my former mentors told me this way back in 2007, 8. He had a program worth 10,000 pounds. And he said to me, look, I had no idea if this is going to sell, but his coach just told him to put it out there. And guess what? He made 3 sales, right? And confidence just built on that. As soon as you make the first sale, you're like, shit, man, there are people that actually want this stuff. And that just drives more confidence into developing more programs. In the business coaching world, I mean, there's all kinds of retreats and mentorships you can do for 25,000, 50,000, 100, a million. It's unbelievable, right? But people will go on these programs. This is where you can get really creative and dream about what would be your ideal, perfect, high-end program for a single client or a group of clients. Okay, it could be just a retreat away from everything. But again, it's your business. You get to decide. You get to be creative about how you want to run it.
This excites me because I have to admit, back when I was in your shoes, I hadn't thought of this level to the extent that I could have. But now, seeing the bigger picture and actually knowing of people that are providing these types of services, and it's exciting. You become that celebrity trainer, per se, where you go away with that particular client, as Nikki said, off to wherever in the world that you take them, and you're one-to-one for that week. Who wouldn't like an extra 10 grand in their back pocket for a week's work? That's amazing, and it doesn't take you it doesn't disrupt your general day-to-day running of your your other clients. You're just away for a week. The only thing is you've earned significant money from that week. So as we said, the sky's the limit here, and it's really, I think, just think big, and then think bigger on that until it becomes that scary excitement, I suppose, butterfly in your stomach mode, where you think, is that really possible? Then I think you've dreamt big enough, and then put a price on there and put it out there, as Nikki says, because there will be somebody out there that, so long as you've got the right message and you've directed it to that right person, then somebody will take you up on that offer.
Yeah, the person that's going to take you up on the offer is the one that's going to be possibly already going to be a client of yours. And this is the power of the value ladder, right? Andrew, could you go back to the slide of the value ladder? Just want to, great. So if we go through the whole ascension plan of the value ladder, you bring someone in an assessment, and let's say they did join your group training, and you start building a relationship up with them. And they're like, okay, I'm up for semi-private training. And by this time, your relationship's solid with them. You let them know about this one program that you have. Maybe, I'm just going to say it's a group retreat for now, right? It could be anything, could be one-to-one. They already trust you. They already know you. So they know they're not going to waste 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever it is, so long as they've got the means to do it, right? It's going to be very unlikely that anyone that doesn't know you or is going to buy that elite coaching package program. Most of that marketing has to be done internally to people who are already in your client base, right? Again, we're just mentioning numbers now, like 10 grand, 20 grand. It could start as 1,000, and then as you build confidence, you can increase the prices as much. The bottom line is, though, that your high end or elite coaching package is going to be the highest value ticket in your business, if that makes sense, right? One of the things we learned off some of Dan Kennedy's training is to market at each level of value ladder. I'm gonna let Andrew go into that a little bit more, but it was an interesting concept and something I'd never thought about before. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more, Andrew?
Yeah, before I do, I just want to touch base on the on working with clients, because you know them better than anything. They trust you, or certainly will do, once you've been working with them for whatever period of time. So you should be doing a review, and seeing, are they getting what they need out of this particular package they're on? Can I improve the service I bring to them? And if you can, and if it means them having to invest a little more, then I would suggest it's remiss of us as professionals not to suggest that to them. So as Nikki said, let's say they were in the semi-private, and this particular client is a CEO, and he needs some time away to recharge his batteries, and needs some hand-holding, I guess, and some assistance with getting his nutrition in play, and that means you being there every step of the way. Then by just discussing it with them and saying, hey, John, I'll put this program together and you would be an ideal candidate for it. Here's the details. What do you think? And as Nikki said, when you've got that relationship with them, then there's a good chance that you can get those sales that you want. But it's important, as we've stated, this elite coaching package is, I would suggest it would be 100% generated from your existing client base, or certainly those within your sphere of influence on your database. Coming around to the actual marketing side of things, as Nikki says, the marketing you're going to do for an elite coaching package is completely different to what you would be doing at tier one. So you want to be making sure that you're clear on your targets each month, what client numbers you're looking to attract into your business, and then looking at the tiers and creating or crafting the right message to that right market. And a number of clients will say, well, which tier do I market? And my answer is generally, well, look, we need to be doing each and every one of them, because you're looking to get new leads into your business. So they're going to be coming in at level one, but you're also looking at people on your database who may be inactive, or maybe a prospects, they've shown interest but never actually taken part within any of the sessions you do. So you want to be looking at reactivation campaigns. And this time of year, I would suggest still is a good time. The kids went back to school a couple of weeks ago. People are able to focus on getting back into some form of routine again. And we want to be looking at those within our list who we can make an offer to get back into trading. And then, of course, those that you've already got, let's say in semi-private, that's what else can we add to that? If it's just the training aspect that you offer, but somebody is failing on the nutrition side, well, can we add in a new nutrition workshop or a nutrition program that they can add to the program that they get? So you're getting you're delivering more value and a bigger service to them, and in turn you're generating greater revenues for yourself. So just coming back, we've got space for questions. So obviously any questions on this, we'll look for you to post within the group, in the Facebook group. But I would look at using this time to review the steps that you have, the services that you provide in your business, and if you haven't mapped it out into a value ladder, for clarity for yourself, but also to show the journey to clients of what they can, how they can grow and how you can help them along the journey, then I strongly encourage you to work on that and get one completed, and then share it with us, guys. Let's have you share your value ladders within the group so that we can use them as a guide, use them for support for those that perhaps are a little confused on what their top package might be, but also we can give you feedback as well.
We got a quick question from James. He said, love the lesson, but his question was, where do I start? It's a great question, right? So as Andy was saying at the start, normally I would have started at the bottom, but actually you want to start at the top, so design your ultimate dream program and then work down from there. When you start from the top down, you just look at your business in a slightly different way. So start there, and it's like, where can you provide the most value and charge the most? What kind of package would need to happen for that to take place?
I agree. Look, as we said, top down, and I wish I'd known that way back.
Yeah, likewise, man. Yeah, likewise.
Because when I was starting to add, I started off, it was 1-to-1, and then I maxed out my time, and then it was like, oh, how can I do that? How can I leverage my time better? The group training came in, so I was sort of going backwards, but then it was like, what does that package look like? As Nicky says, if you've got that, if you've built and thought big of that elite coaching package in this example, then you can just take a few elements out of that, which brings the price point down, and suddenly you've got a really good semi-private coaching program, which probably puts you many steps ahead of perceived competition. And certainly you can explain the value in that program then through the message you relay in your marketing. And then, as we say, you just take that step down, right? What's the group training going to look like, and so on and so forth. So start from the top, James, and work your way back down.
Great stuff. So the key to this is actually doing it. It doesn't have to be right. It won't take too long to get it done. You could get it done in an hour. Just give it some thought. Like I always say, like what I say this to a lot of clients, a good question that you should be asking yourself, if you ever get to the point where you're thinking, okay, how do I do that? That's a great place to be. The how you can figure out. It's not that challenging, but just put the steps and directions in place, build your value ladder, and then obviously you can feed off the group, feed off me and Andrew to help you put it all together and actually make this work. Okay.
And the key here, guys, as well is like we've put some price point examples here, but don't devalue what you bring to the marketplace. You're highly trained, highly skilled individuals, and you should be compensated accordingly for that. That's because the market is driving the prices down to try and undercut you. Stand firm, because you can relay the value that you bring to the table through the message in your marketing. Plus, so long as you don't follow the herd and you stand by your guns and zig when everybody zags, as a phrase that I remember from back in the day, is that people will get to hear about you. They'll want to work with you because you believe in that product and service that you deliver. And I'd rather be in a marketplace of one than a marketplace of 1,000 trying to compete with everybody else. The same message, the same market, and trying to be heard above the noise. So focus, get this done. Be clear on who your target client is. Build out your value ladder, share it with us, and this will set you many steps ahead of anybody else within your area. Any final thoughts, Nicky?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just as an example, can you hear me okay, Andrew?
Certainly can.
Yeah, just an example on what Andrew was just saying there is how do you stand out from the crowd, or how do you not compare apples to oranges? Is just kind of brand your program. So a program that I had was called the Health Regeneration Program, and it was a one-to-one program which just helped people get healthy or help sick people get well. But I never called it a personal training program. It was always the Health Regeneration Program. You couldn't then compare the price to a normal personal training program. Okay, so it could be really simple just to brand or name your product something different. And then the next question is from a client, okay, what does that involve? And that's a great question to have asked, because now you can dive into, okay, what the program can deliver, what benefits can the program deliver. And definitely you can keep the prices high. It's all about building value to the current customers that you already have, and using the value ladder to kind of get them to the next level. What I'm going to say about this is just play, have fun with it. Don't overthink it. Have fun with it. And obviously your services have to match the price point in terms of value. What you don't want to do is like kind of, and I've seen this with businesses before, and this is quite bad, is don't sell someone something they don't need or they can't afford. That's only going to lead to problems down the line. Because some people are willing buyers even though they can't afford it. Have some integrity, and kind of you kind of got to know your market, right? There's plenty of people that have got the money to buy or need them services. Stick with them. They're my final thoughts for today.
Excellent. Look, get this into play, guys. Share it with us so that we can review and give you feedback. We can give everybody support if and where required. But once we've got this framework, this foundation in place, it then sets us up to really start focusing on driving forward with the specific marketing at each level. And that's what we go more into next month, into looking at, right, what's the specific marketing pieces that we're going to do in line with the steps that you've put in place. Good stuff. Okay, well, there's no more questions, is there, Nicky?
No more questions. If you guys have any questions as you start to do it, feel free to just put them on the Facebook group, and me and Andrew will answer them ASAP.
Right. Well, great session. Looking forward to seeing what everybody's done on this. And as Nicky said, any questions, give us a shout. But on that note, thanks for your time. And yeah, we'll speak to you same place, same time next week.
See you later. Bye.
Bye for now, guys. Bye.